I want to give the audience something that they only get on News Nation. And I am so appreciative of our members of Congress who make this possible. Left and right coming together to discuss what is reasonable. Democrat from California, member of Congress, Lateefah Simon. And Georgia, Republican, member of Congress, Dr. Rich McCormick. Also happens to be on the Science, Space, and Tech Committee. And I just wanted to ask him something, a little news of day here about scrubbing the SpaceX launch. First of all, it's great to have you, Lateefah. Doc, as always, appreciate you being here. Do you have any insight for us about why they scrubbed it and what it means for when we can try to rescue these astronauts?
I do. We actually reached out to SpaceX to find out what was going on. Apparently, it was just a safety issue. They want to make sure a couple of little tweaks were done so they could launch. It's only going to be basically a small delay, probably less than 24 hours. They just want to make sure everything's good. They're double checking. When you're talking about human lives coming back from a space station that have been stranded for a very long time, you don't want to rush something like that. They want to do it right.
All right. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Lateefah, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. It's good to have you. Welcome to News Nation. Do not be put off by how crazy my hair looks. I thought that if my hair went super high, it may make my 5 head look a little smaller. Don't think it worked. So let me ask you this. When you look at the state of play in Congress and what's happening over this continuing resolution, they pushed it through the House, right? One Democrat, I think, voted for it. Now the Senate is holding it up. Do you think that that is the right move? Do you think shutting down the government, brinksmanship, is the way to get something done?
I want to be clear, and it's so awesome to be on your show. And my colleague on the right side of the aisle, I actually think we're going to do good work together in the 119th Congress. I came to be a legislator for real people, not only in California's 12th district, but all over the country. I am 2.5 months in and shocked at where we are. I'm hoping and praying that we get to a space where we actually see what the American people need. You're talking about cutting Medicaid in Georgia for almost 2 million people. You're talking about shoving our aunts and uncles and grandmothers out of nursing homes. Read the bill. It is absolutely, it's a non-starter. I've read it. For all of my life, sir, I have worked with folks on the streets, in jails, with elders. I have buried my husband and left my life literally as I know it after burying Kevin and raising these 2 kids over the last 10 years. I have tears in my eyes when I read what is in front of us. 43% of the people in my district will be harmed by this CR. This is real. This is not politics. This is cruel. This is a cruel retribution on the American people. And my colleague across the aisle, I know you know that in your heart. I know you know that. So we'll see what happens on the Senate side. I am begging Democrats in the Senate to do the right thing. To do the right thing and say, no, we don't want to shut down the federal government. My mother worked for the VA for 35 years. You think I don't want women like her to get a paycheck? Absolutely not. But a non-starter is kicking our veterans to the curb and lying about it. Our non-starter is diminishing the Department of Education and saying that disabled children don't need aides in the classroom. Or I can go on and on. Read the bill.
You can.
Understand.
But hold on a second. You're filibustering me here, Congressman. And I respect it on one level, but I got to stop it on another. But Congressman, I got to stop you. This CR does not do any of those things. This is a kick the can down the road with a little bit more for the defense. I'm not saying that there aren't members of the right, and I'll let Dr. Rich speak to it, who don't want to make cuts to Medicaid. But hold on a second. Congressman, that's not in this CR. Those cuts to Medicaid and those proposed cuts to the federal government, those are all things that are going to be negotiated later. They're not in the CR.
You know what the CR does? It does give.
I think it's my turn now.
The power of my colleagues on the right and the left to advance really what is our job to make sure that we actually have the legislative power of the purse. It does. It absolutely does. So fine, folks want to be a part of the big old gang in the administration and give away their rights. Our job as legislators is to advance really what's right for the American people. We read the bill, we read the executive orders, we know what's happening. They've all said, it's fine, we'll throw away our people. We'll throw away the working class. It's okay.
But hold on a second.
That's what's happening.
Hold on. This continuing resolution is very like the last one that Biden passed with some more for defense. Rich, how do you understand it?
Okay, I'm glad we got the talking points out of the way. Let's talk about the truth of this. Nothing's appropriated. Nothing. You have essentially the same Nancy Pelosi spending bill from the COVID era spending, which increased by record spending levels. We had a record spending bill last CR. We cut $12 billion. Are you kidding? $12 billion is 0.0017% of this $7 trillion budget, and it's not even appropriated. You can find more waste than that in just what we spent on the illegal immigrants coming across the border. $40 billion spent from FEMA. We have so much misappropriations of funds that we can cut out that touches nothing that Americans get.
Sir, you tell your FQs, your federally funded health clinics in your community this.
Let's be
Wait,
fair.
hold on. Lateefah, I can't hear when you talk over each other. That's why I always want to get people in person. But go ahead, Rich, but also understand, Doc, tell us why you voted for it if you don't like it.
So I don't think this is a very good bill either, because it's at record spending levels, because we didn't save anything, because we didn't cut out the waste, fraud, and abuse that we know we have hundreds of billions of dollars in Medicaid fraud, 1 out of every 4 claims. When you talk about reimbursement, it didn't do a doc fix, it didn't do site neutrality, it didn't do PBM reform, it didn't do a ton of things, getting rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse we know is in the system right now. We're still record-setting levels of spending. $7 trillion. We have a $2 trillion debt per year. This is about our children. The debt interest payment we pay this year is $1 trillion. If we keep this up, it's going to be $1.5 trillion by the end of the session. How does the gentle lady propose we're going to take care of that so we don't get downgraded as an economy and ruin the future of America when it comes to the currency standard that we uphold in the world?
Lateefah, I want you to give me an answer to that to end the segment. But first, Rich, just let me get you on the record real quick. Why'd you vote for it then?
Because we didn't get a better alternative. Quite frankly, I don't think we did our job. We had 4 months of purpose. Actually, this is my 3rd time. I hate CRs. I don't think it's doing our job. We have to do the regular appropriations. We got to do a budget the way we're expected to. Put it in front of the Senate, and if they decide to shut down the government, that's on them. We do our job. They got to do theirs.
Don't go along to get along. You're too handsome. Lateefah, let me get your answer to the Congressman's question about your concerns about cutting entitlements. Fine, but then how do you get the debt under control?
You know, the issue is real. I want efficiency in so many ways. We know that, again, we have across the aisle, administration after administration, from the Nixon administration on, we have done a poor job at efficiency. We're using a chainsaw instead of a scalpel. Our president has said so. We know that when you fire 1,000 VA workers on Valentine's Day, you don't put America first. You know that when you shutter the Department of Education, you don't put disabled children first. When you cut the Office of Civil Rights from the Department of Education, you don't support young women who've been raped on our college campuses. Listen, let's get to the Pentagon. Let's get to real waste, fraud, and abuse. We've been funding crazy contracts to folks who don't do their jobs. The Pentagon has failed 7 audits. Our Republican colleagues have not spoken to that yet, but what they will do and what they have promised to do is to send poor people, the sickest among us, to the river. You cannot refute that. With the
CR doesn't. I do refute that. That's not what the CR does.
You can't refute what your party has proposed. So we'll see. I can't wait for you, sir, to go to another town hall meeting to have more people.
I know.
She's misstating information.
Hold on a second.
That's a fact.
Rich, I'm with you. Lateefah, you are conflating what we have heard that members on the right want with the allocations for what is actually in the CR. Where we are right now, your fears are not realized. They may be, but they're not. My question to you was, what are you going to do about the debt? You want to take it out of the DOD? Great. That's number 4 or 5 if you count our debt service in terms of what we put out. But, and I don't think the doc is against looking anywhere, including in the Pentagon. Let's see how it goes once you guys stop kicking the can down the road and do the real work of finding a way to balance this budget. Ms. Simon, I appreciate you being here.
On the back of the sick and the poor and the widows, fine, if that's what you want to do. No, but that's not America.
It's not my job. It's not my job, but let's see what you guys hammer out. I'm just saying it's not in the CR. Dr. McCormick, thank you for being here as always.
It's not in the CR. Thank you very much.
That's what they're saying. That's what they want to do.
Ms. Simon, we'll continue the conversation as we get more facts. I was just going off what's in this CR right now. Not that I like CRs. I'd rather you guys do your job. All right. Both of you. Thank you. 4 minutes and 35